Preparing athletes will have 5 minutes to the first start, 5 minutes to race 150. Female women's 200 meter, the first semi-final. We have in lane 1 Great Britain, in lane 2 Australia, in lane 3 Australia, in lane 4 Slovenia, in lane 5 Italy, in lane 6 Denmark, in lane 7 Hungary, in lane 8 Italy, and in lane 9 Mexico. We have 4 minutes to the start, 4 minutes to race.
Hello everyone, who's ready for some gold medal action? Yes, I know you all are. You've been hanging out for this, you've been waiting, counting down the hours to day 3 of the International Canoe Federation Canoe Sprint and Paracanowe World Cup, coming to you from this beautiful city of Poznan in Poland. And we've had 2 days already of top level racing, and I think we're going to even raise the bar higher today. There is your course in Poznan. There are the very enthusiastic athletes. They're ready to get out there and to strut their stuff today for what should be some very, very exciting action. My name's Ross Solly. It's my great privilege to bring you today's racing, and I'm joined in the commentary box for the first session today by the multiple Paralympic champion, world champion, World Cup gold medalist, Emma Wiggs. Good morning to you, Emma. Lovely to have you with us for the opening session of this, what I think is going to be a very, very exciting third day, coming to us live from Poznan.
Really brilliant to be here, Ross. It looks fantastic out there on the course, and it's going to be, as you say, an incredibly exciting morning of semi-finals and some para-canoe finals thrown in for good measure. So yeah, really looking forward to the racing that's ahead of us today.
And the conditions look pretty good today. It was pretty sunny this morning, and it looks like there's a bit of cloud coming in now, but from where I'm sitting, I can see the sun shining. The water looks pretty flat. I think, at least for starters in there, you can see the flag on top of the tower there, and there's great work by our very, very alert camera operators this morning. Straight to the flag. So the temperature at the moment, oh goodness me, didn't feel that cold, 7.5 degrees. That is cold. And the wind speed is 2.1. Well, I think when we get a look at the athletes, we'll know just how cold it is, how rugged up they are. But that's a little bit chilly, Emma, for a start of a morning competition. We're coming up to 9:30 local time in Poznan, so I guess it'll warm up as the day progresses. But it's a chilly start to the day.
Absolutely. I think it's nice to see the sunshine, but obviously a bit deceiving because that is very chilly. So I expect the paddlers are in all their layers as they're warming up on land, and then hoping to strip off a few as they get onto the water. So it's going to be exciting. Looks like the wind is not too strong. It's been a lot stronger here in Poznan before, but that looks like a good conditions today for some great racing.
And we're going to kick off there. You can see the schedule for today. So we've got some semi-finals first up, and then we've got the KL1 women's final, the KL1 men's final, and then some more semi-finals, and then in this afternoon session we've got more finals action for you. So just looking ahead, Emma, the KL1 women and the KL1 men, who are we looking out for in those races a little bit in just about half an hour or so?
I think it's going to be really exciting. I think in the first semi-final we've got Zeroni from Italy. She won her heat really impressively, so I'm looking forward to seeing whether she can build on her 9th place finish from the Szeged World Cup. But it looks like they're already in the starting buckets, Ross.
Yep, so this is the first semi-final, and so the first 3 will go through to the A final, then 4th to 6th to the B final. So we have Burgess, Bailey, Clark, Osterman, Zeroni. We've got thank goodness we got a false start, Emma, because we didn't get a chance to introduce. Thank you very much, Starter. Thank you very much, Starter, for looking after the commentators. We didn't get a chance to properly introduce the field, so the starter thinking, well, I can't have Ross and Emma sitting up there trying to race through the commentary for this first race of the day. There is Anja Osterman, the Slovenian veteran. She is, it's great to see her paddling again for this Olympic cycle, and it looks like maybe in the middle of the field, maybe it was Anja Osterman who tried to get a jump on the start. So yes, as I was trying to say in a very, very rushed fashion, we have here 3 semi-finals, and the top 3 from each semi-final will go through to paddle for gold later this weekend. So in lane number 1, we'll have Abigail Burgess from Great Britain. In lane number 2, Claudia Bailey from Australia. Lane number 3, Alexandra Clark from Australia. Then Anja Osterman in lane 4. Lucrezia Zeroni from Italy in lane 5. Julie Olsen from Denmark in lane 6. Laura Ufalvi from Hungary in lane 7. Sarah Mersglod from Italy in lane 8. And in lane number 9, the Mexican Ana Semina Hernandez. But I think you're right, Emma. I think Lucrezia Zeroni, very impressive last week. She's got a really good turn of speed. I think lanes 5 and lane 4, with Osterman and Zeroni right next to each other. And throw in Olsen as well, the Dane. That's where I think most of the eyes will be in this race, lanes 4, 5 and 6.
Yeah, I think it's going to be a close one between those 3 lanes. Osterman's obviously the silver medalist from the European Champs last year, so she's got definite potential to go well in this semi-final. So keep your eyes on those middle lanes.
So, I'm not sure what's going on there. There's a bit of confusion, hand in the air. What's going on? Are we starting or aren't we starting? I think the starter is calling them up now to the buckets. And worth pointing out while we're waiting, you can see in the background there's some paddlers going up and down. Now, quite a few of the courses that we paddle on around the world have second channels where the athletes can paddle up and forth and train and do all that sort of stuff that has no effect on the race course. Unfortunately, here in Poznan, that's not the case. So I think, Emma, it can be quite distracting and create some waves for the paddlers, but if there's not an official acknowledgement that paddlers shouldn't be paddling past while there's a race on, I think it's just courtesy, and most paddlers do follow that, don't they?
I think it is courtesy. I think from my experience over the last kind of 12 years, it's not always a given that people will stop racing. It looks like we might have a slight problem with the starting bucket system as we're just chatting here. There's a red flag up and the buckets were going up and down. But I know in Poznan there's a traffic light system on the finish line that should indicate when athletes can and cannot paddle up that lane 0. It doesn't always work, Ross. You would think red and green would be universal across the globe, but I'm not sure that it always works. But saying that, it happens in Nottingham too. So I've been known to be sat on a start line in Nottingham screaming at people paddling up the warm-up lane too quickly, because it does create wash, and it does then move across the course and impact people's races. But on the whole, I think hopefully everyone is aware of what's going on.
And let me tell you, viewers, wherever you're watching around the world, you do not want to be on the receiving end of an Emma Weeks scream. I can tell you, because that will really make you focus the mind on what you should or shouldn't be doing. Yes, you're right there, Emma. Looks like they are testing the buckets. This will be a very, very ordinary start to the day if we've got a problem with the starting buckets. Have you ever been at an event where the buckets haven't worked, Emma, and they've just had to rely on ye oldie truth system where you just line up and when the starter says go, you go? Have you ever been at one of those events?
Certainly in Nottingham we have. I think that's always been a bit of a challenge, but not at an international event. But it looks at the minute, Ross, like one of the lanes, the buckets in possibly that lane there is not working while the others are up. So we can see there's a gap in the buckets there. I think it's lane 3.
Lane 3.
Looks like it hasn't got a bucket. So I would imagine they're going to be unable to start until they've got that sorted out. I don't know the actual official protocols, but that doesn't look like that's going to allow us to get racing underway.
There's a hole in that bucket, dear Liza, dear Liza. A hole in that bucket. You'd be too young, Emma, to remember that.
I am absolutely too young, Ross. But no, that's
yes.
that's absolutely
so what's
right.
happening here? Looks like the athletes have been told to go off and have a chat to themselves and to refocus. So maybe they're going to have to get the technicians out to try and fix this up. So this is going to cause a major delay by the look of things. That's certainly the athletes from this race. They've been told they can go out and continue to warm up and paddle, and maybe we're going to send out the technicians to have a bit of a look and see if they can fix this up. But that is a disappointing start to the day for the organisers.
I think there's always a bit of a slack between the different distances, aren't there? In the different races, there's a few minutes built in, so hopefully it won't impact too much the rest of the day. But this is certainly a bit of a problem for the organisers. But I'm sure they will be on it and have the right people there to try and fix it. But it not only affects the athletes that are due to race in this first K1 Women's 200 semi-final, but all the athletes that are queuing up waiting. So they'll be able to sense that something's going on. They'll be able to see the athletes circling round, and it's unnerving. It's unnerving to not be able to hear necessarily what the delay is or how long that delay is going to be. And you can see the C1 paddlers certainly won't want to be out there any longer than they need to be in that rougher water, as everyone's doing big circles around. So they'll be hoping to get things underway as quickly as possible.
I'll be very disappointed if one of the ways to make up the time is to shorten the lunch break, because I've been enjoying a couple of sausage rolls and a variety of local Polish cuisines during the lunch break. And if I have to scoff it down and head back with the threat of indigestion hanging over the top of me, I'll be very, very disappointed. So hopefully they won't shorten the lunch break.
Well,
really selfish.
Hopefully,
I mean, yeah, it's all about me, Emma. It's all about me in the end.
Have you sampled a Saint Martin croissant, Ross? That's a Polish Poznan traditional pastry. I'm wondering whether you've been to the Saint Martin Croissant Museum, in fact, in Poznan.
No, I have not been to that museum. I've been to Poznan several times, and I love the city, but I've not been to that museum. I'm always looking for new things to sample and to look at, though. So I'm going to put that on my list. If we get the way this is going, though, we might be here till midnight tonight, still calling this races, Emma. So
don't worry. There's a very professional man. Look, he's in that boat. There's a lot of air coming up from that bucket, but he looks like he's got a giant pole, so that's gonna fix that.
Well,
so I'm
you know what we've got there, right? We've got a giant pole with a giant pole. I think there's two poles with poles there at the bucket. Now he's doing the Ross Solly, I think, traditional way of fixing something, just giving a bit of a bang with a stick, which is generally the way anything. If the washing machine is playing up, or the microwave, generally just give it a bit of a bang with a stick, and lo and behold, it'll work again. But they are on the job there in lane 3, just trying to maybe they're peace mediators, just trying to reason with the third bucket, which has turned out to be a little bit shy and doesn't want to stick its head up. Lots of bubbles coming out there. Emma, I'm not sure.
I mean, I'm
very angry. Oh, hello.
I'm no expert, Ross, but I have watched the team at Nottingham battle with buckets for years, and generally I think bubbles are a problem. That would be my conclusion to the bucket situation, is any excessive bubbles, that probably means the bucket is not functioning properly. But this, lots of these athletes will already be on the water. We've got the K1 women semi-finals, then the C1 women semi-finals. So all of those athletes are likely to be on the water doing their warm-ups already. So having plan your warm-up meticulously down to the minute. My warm-up is mapped out minute by minute down to the race start time. They're now going to have to be extending that, finding somewhere to potentially rest, which in Poznan, I don't remember there being a huge number of jetties or anywhere where you could, for example, rest and get out your boat. So that's obviously everyone's going to be in the same position, but that's going to be an added element for them to deal with as they're waiting for the race to start.
And as we mentioned at the start of the broadcast, the temperature at the moment in Poznan is about 7 degrees, so it's a bit cool out there on the water, so the athletes won't be impressed by that either. I reckon these guys, that they've been given an incentive to fix it up. I think the incentive will be get it working, otherwise you'll have to hop in the water and hold the back of the boat in lane 3 just to make sure that that it works fine. So it's a pretty good incentive to make sure they fix it up. They've got I think they brought out a bigger pole now, just to try and reason with bucket number 3. There is our Olympic champion, Katie Vincent. Really looking forward to seeing her. She was a little bit off her very, very best last week. It's very rarely that Katie Vincent would go 2 weekends in a row without displaying the gold medal winning form that took her to the top of the podium in Paris last year. Such a breakthrough moment for Katie Vincent, one of the nicest people in our sport, and somebody who's worked so hard to get to where she is. Looking forward to seeing her paddling a little bit later on.
Difficult as well, Ross, for the athletes that aren't on the water. So you see one of the athletes from Austria warming up there. You know, he probably is, I imagine, in the K1 men races just coming up.
I think that's Timon Mora, I think.
Oh, it is?
Timon Mora warming up there. Yep.
I didn't recognise him without his bumblebee boat.
No, that's right. That's exactly
but
right.
He's, he's going to have to be adjusting his get on time potentially. But there's real uncertainty in that, because should this bucket get fixed, which I'm sure it will, and racing catch up with itself, then his race could go ahead at the original time. So you're in that kind of quandary as to whether you delay getting on because of this delay, or whether you get on at your planned time expecting your race to go because they've caught up, because there are these little gaps between that will allow us to catch up. But at the minute it's looking like they are still battling with bucket number 3, but I'm sure they've got the right people on the job.
Well, bucket number 3 is proving very stubborn, holding out for a much better pay deal, I think, just not willing to concede any ground. And you could see the frustration there with one of the chaps, pole number 1, trying to fix it up, and the pressure on them, I guess, Emma, because this is a live World Cup. They know that we're showing these pictures around the world, and people sitting at home are waiting there on the edge of their seat, waiting for some action, and we're just waiting for this to sort out. I think we saw there one of the coaches from Venezuela and one of the athletes from Brazil. Got the Ukrainians here, of course. Good to see them here in force.
I'll always remember in 2014, Ross, in Moscow at the World Championships, we had terrible storms, and we tried 3 times to go out for our races, and each time we'd get nearly to the start line, and the hooter would sound and they would take us all off because a storm was coming in. So my race was actually delayed from, I think it was the end of the morning on day 1, and we actually raced on the following afternoon about 3 o'clock. So it was a long delay due to the weather. So it can happen. I think the athletes are obviously all aware of weather impacts, but something technical like this is slightly more unexpected. Normally things run really smoothly, but given that the majority of our racing this morning up until about 10:15 is 200 meters, they need to get this fixed to allow those races to happen.
And Emma, what about for the athlete? So Alexandra Clark from Australia, she's the one in lane 3. Mentally, is there anything that could this play on her mind as she goes in for the start line with a bucket that's obviously cantankerous? And do you think that mentally that she needs to get her head around that at all?
Yeah, I think it can get in your head. You know, if you think that your bucket might drop slower than everyone else's, that's going to be a problem. But she's an experienced paddler, and I think she hopefully will just take some deep breaths and refocus on that starting process, and trust the bucket, trust that it's going to drop, and do what she can. And if it doesn't, then I'm sure they will look again. But yeah, it can definitely be something that you don't want to be building in your head. You want to be just focusing on what you're trying to deliver, particularly in an event like the 200, which is, you know, so fast. These paddlers are looking to go around the 40-second mark, I would imagine, today, given the conditions, and that's a definite impact then if your start isn't as you want it to be. So not necessarily game over if you mess the start up, but certainly it's problematic. So hopefully she will be just focusing on what she can control and just cruising around and calming herself down.
Right, well, look, no point you and I sitting here and waffling on forever. I guess we might take a little break, keep an eye on the pictures that are coming out of Poznan, and try and get some word down to the course and see if we can get an update. But I guess it's was it Donald Rumsfeld who said there are known knowns and known unknowns and unknown unknowns, or something to that effect. Nobody really knows what's going on there, so we might take just a short break, and we'll be back when we get some word through that we are about to make a start. So apologies for this delay, folks. I know there are people watching all over the world. In some parts of the world, it's very, very late, and people are sat up or got up early in the morning to watch, so that must be frustrating for you, I'm sure. But it is a little bit beyond our control, and we're just trying to get this fixed as soon as possible. So we'll take a little break, and as soon as we can see some action starting to take place, we'll rejoin you.
chcemy, żeby na przykład, o, teraz ma takie coś, jakby lepszą jeźdę na miasto, na całe jezioro, nie? To zajęty jest.
Namiasty mini na kół i na wszelki wypadek podleć do góry, bo nigdy nie wiadomo kiedy ruszą. Dobra, dzięki.
Zawsze do kieszeni mogę sięgnąć po radio, więc będę przykiwał głową. Pani Marta. Nie, tu mam dobrze, wiesz, tylko nie zawsze mogę sięgnąć sam ręką, jak mam na drążkach.
Na razie Damian jeszcze nie startuj, jeszcze poczekaj, bo tam oni się cały czas umawiają w realizacji.
Ja czekam.
They're going to run the VT, Ross, and then it's the in about 30 seconds they're going to start the VT, and then it'll be live and it'll stick to the same running order.
Szanowni Państwo, w trakcie zapraszamy wszystkich uczestników do naszej fotografii. Fotografia znajduje się bezpośrednio przy karetce. Także zapraszamy wszystkich.
Poznan 2025. Welcome to day 3 of the International Canoe Federation Canoe Sprint and Paracanowe World Cup. A stunning day here in this Polish city as we prepare to bring you the biggest names in our sport as they race for gold on what is a jam-packed day of action. My name is Ross Solly. It is great to be here with you, and we have got Paracanowe finals, we've got sprint finals all lined up for you on what is a fresh morning here in Poznan. It's a little bit cool, but there's not much of a breeze, and I think we've got some big racing, some exciting racing. I think we're going to see some reputations on the line here today, so strap yourselves in for what should be a great couple of hours of top-notch racing. Here with me in the commentary box is the multiple Paralympic gold medalist, world champion, World Cup gold medalist, Emma Wiggs from Great Britain. Emma, lovely to have your company this morning, and we are expecting some good racing today.
Absolutely, really excited to see some of the semi-finals this morning. All the athletes looking forward to grabbing their spot in the A final and some Paracanowe finals as well. So it'd be great to see the athletes out on the water. It is gradually warming up, which I'm sure that they will be appreciating as they go out there on the water. But for Poznan, this weather looks lovely. So let's see how the racing goes.
Yes, and now if you're just joining us from around the world, we have had some technical issues this morning. We had a cantankerous start bucket that refused to do what it was meant to do, and we've had 2 poles out there with big poles trying to fix up the buckets, but I think it looks like we are now getting everybody in line for our first race of the day. So there's nothing like getting the TV coverage going to focus the mind of a cantankerous bucket. So I'm very happy that we are going to get underway. We're going to kick off with the semi-finals of the women's K1 200 meters. The first of 3 semi-finals, and the top 3 will go straight through to the finals. So we have Burgess from Great Britain, Bailey from Australia, Clark from Australia, Osterman from Slovenia, Zeroni from Italy, Olsen from Denmark, Ujfalji from Hungary, Mersglod from Italy, and Hernandez from Mexico. Let's watch for Zeroni from Italy and Osterman from Slovenia in the middle of the field. They are the speed machines in this race, and already you can see Anja Osterman there in the pink-nosed boat going out to take an early lead. With her is Lucrezia Zeroni, the impressive young paddler from Italy. She's gone out hard as well. So it's Osterman in front of Zeroni. The top 3 go straight through to the final. Olsen from Denmark possibly sitting in 3rd spot at the moment. But Anja Osterman, a veteran, knows exactly how to paddle a 200-meter race. She's going to come down. Zeroni challenging her now at the moment, though, but I think Osterman will hold on, will she? Oh, just maybe. And the Hungarian Ujfalji has flown home to snatch the 3rd finish, the 3rd spot, and to book herself a place in the final. Our TV operators, camera operators, are normally spot on the money, They're giving it to Osterman. I'm not 100% certain on this one, Emma Wiggs, because it was a very close finish, but in the end it won't matter because both Anya Osterman and Lucrezia Zeroni will go straight through to the final.
Yeah, hugely exciting. I think Zeroni might have just pipped her on the line. Really hard to see exactly, but it's... Oh, no, I think you're right, Ross. I think Osterman just got it by a tiny, tiny margin. But a fantastic finish by the Hungarian to nick third place and go straight through to that A final. 4 to 6 will obviously go to the B final, where there's world ranking points on offer for all of these athletes. So they're looking to deliver the best they can in those final events. But yeah, an exciting race to kick off the morning.
Oh, there we have it. 0.07 seconds between first and second. But Osterman, Zeroni and Usfalji from Hungary flying home to tip out the Dane Olsen. And so Olsen, Merglod from Italy and Bailey from Australia will go through to the B final. All right, because we had that cantankerous bucket, we are racing through these races now. So there's not much of a time for you to go out and put the kettle on. Apologise for that. But in the end, you'll probably thank us because you will not want to need to take a toilet break, I can tell you, for an hour or so because we've got top-level action. So this is semi-final number 2. And in lane 1, we have the Colombian Scalia Castro. In lane 2 from Singapore, Stephanie Chen. In lane 3 from Ukraine, Rybak. In lane 4 from Germany, Diederichs. In lane 5 from Poland, Olzelska. In lane 6 from Ukraine, Diachenko. Lane 7 from Japan, Arada. In lane 8 from New Zealand, Olivia Brett. And in lane number 9 from Team GB, it is Lucy Lee Smith. So once again, top 3 will go straight through. I think lane 5, the Polish paddler Julia Ozeska is very formidable, very, very fast, but so is Diachenko, the Ukrainian. And Diderix showed us this, in the earlier rounds that she's got a turn of speed as well.
Yeah, always exciting in these 200 metres that it is absolutely nail-biting, and they've all got off the start line incredibly well, looking like the middle lanes. They're just nudging into the lead. The Ukrainian Dachenko just holding out just ahead of the Polish athlete Uzaka, who won silver in the K4 yesterday, 500. So she's on good form, looking to impress her home crowd. Really great to see these athletes exploding out those buckets and getting up to their top speed and then trying to hold it as the lactic acid kicks in and affects all of your systems. Your muscles are screaming, but they're trying to keep that speed going, and they're coming to the line. And it's going to be the Ukrainian in lane 6, closely followed by the Polish athlete next to her. And, oh, Ross, third place. Great run
third
for the
place,
Ukrainian.
pretty certain the third place went to the German, Diederix. So it'll be Diachenko first. I think Olzelska from Poland will finish second, and I'm pretty certain that Katarina Diederix from Germany will have done enough to take third spot and to book herself a race for gold later this weekend in the women's K1 200, which for people watching around the world, it's not an Olympic event anymore, unfortunately, but that hasn't diminished the quality of the field. There's some very, very good paddlers who still love the 200 and love getting out there on the water for this splash and dash. So there you go, Ukraine, Poland and Germany finishing in the third spot. Just wait for official confirmation.
The New Zealander in over in lane 8, just pushing the German right to the line there, but I think you're right, the German athlete Diderix just nicked the third spot. So great run from the Kiwi to push them all the way, and there's the results confirmed. 41-2 for Ukraine, for Poland in second, Germany in third, and then B finals for Olivia Brett, New Zealand, Rybak from Ukraine and Stephanie Chen from Singapore. The other athletes just missing out this time. And it's semi-final 3 coming down into the buckets now. We've got another interesting heat here with some really fast paddlers. We've got Helen from Peru, Aldina from Latvia, Medved from Slovenia, Wang from China, the impressive athlete, got bronze in the 1,000 metres yesterday. Matteson from Denmark, Gombas from Hungary came second in her heat. Ostraka from Poland, Loch from Canada, and Campos from Mexico in lane 9. And they are already in the buckets, ready to go under starters' orders. Looking for top 3 to go through to the A final.
Really looking forward to the race here between Nan Wang of China in lane 4 and Frederik Madsen from Denmark in lane 5. That is the Chinese paddler in the red and yellow boat in the middle, and right next to her, who exploded out of the gates like a scalded cat, Frederika Madsen. She's gone out already for a half-length boat lead. Look at Nan Wang, though, the Chinese paddler, and closest to the camera down here, looks like the Canadian Kali Locke is also up there. Mia Medved from Slovenia also starting to pull back some distance. But look at Frederika Madsen from Denmark. She has flown out of the starting blocks and has a commanding lead in a 200-meter race. This is very impressive. Nan Wang is there. Also, it's Ostrowska from Poland flying home, but it's going to be Madsen, Wang, and Ostrowska. That is your 3. So well done to the Polish paddler for a big finish to grab 3rd spot, but no doubt about our winner. Wow, that is a very, very impressive turn of speed out of the starting buckets. Grabbed a half-length boat lead by about the 75-meter mark and defied running down. Nan Wang, the Chinese paddler, who's very, very good, could do nothing to make up that distance. And we saw Sandra Ostrowska, the Polish paddler, in lane 7, rattling home to grab that 3rd spot. But that is a pretty impressive turn of speed out of the start block, isn't it, Emma?
Yeah, absolutely. Considering we didn't see her race the K1 in Szeged last weekend, that's a phenomenal run. I wasn't entirely sure she was going to be able to keep that speed, but she held her speed fantastically, and despite the pressure from Wang on her inside, she didn't falter and she took the win. Great paddling from all of those athletes, and a close call for that 3rd spot, but Varsvaka just taking it. So hugely impressive from the Danish paddler.
Yep, I think from memory she was Emma Jorgensen's partner, wasn't she, in the K2 for the Olympic campaign. So she's had that benefit of having a very, very experienced paddler show her the way and show her the ropes, and obviously benefiting from that enormously. And there's confirmation now. Madsen, Wang and Ostrowska going through to the A final. Medved, Gombas and Locke from Canada will compete for the B final. Okay, so now we turn our attention to an Olympic event. Emma, this is the C1 200. Who have we got starting in this race?
So in this race, we have got 9 boats. The first 3 will go through to the A final. In lane 1, we've got Harper from the USA. In lane 2, we've got Christ from Denmark. Maliard in lane 3 from Chile. Sun from China in lane 4. She got the bronze in the C2 yesterday. Katie Vincent, the Olympic champion from Paris, also got the silver in the C2 yesterday. She's in lane 5. Luzan from Ukraine in lane 6. She's currently the world champion in the C1 500 meters. Gisela from America in lane 7. Pimentel from Mexico in 8, and Losk from Germany in 9. So this is going to be close. Hugely exciting to see Vincent and Sung go against each other.
And don't discount Ludmila Luzan, of course, who is an outstanding, consistent athlete. And I only learned yesterday that Miriam Maliard is back paddling not long after having a baby. So I think a couple of months after having a baby, which is an incredible story in itself. But you have Katie Vincent out in the middle of the field. I think she's gone out to take an early lead. Mengya Sun, one half of the incredible women's C2 team from China, on one side of her, and Ludmila Luzan, the Ukrainian, on the other. This is a cracking semi-final field. The top 3 will go through to paddle for gold. But look at Katie Vincent. She wants to put behind her that disappointment from last week. She's going out. She's leading from start to finish. I think Ludmila Luzan maybe might get up for the second. So it's Vincent, Luzan and Sun. They are your top 3, as you would expect, because they really are 3 of the very, very best female canoe paddlers that we've had in the short time that this has been part of the Olympic program. They really, really are the very, very best, underlined by the fact that Katie Vincent is the reigning Olympic champion in this event, and I think there Emma showed us just why.
Yeah, she did, absolutely. And don't forget as well, with those technical issues this morning, they've been out on the water for probably about 20-25 minutes longer than they would have been ideal for their warm-ups. But showing right from the start that power, you can see the boat surging along the water. I think it looks slightly like a crosswind today, which is giving the athletes a few little challenges in addition to trying to execute their 200 metres. But those three athletes there at the start, Vincent, Sun and Luzanne, showing clearly that they are ahead of the rest of the field and taking their spot in the A final.
Yeah, really good racing. I think Katie Vincent just missed a medal last weekend, and it would have been a long time, I would think, Emma Wiggs, since Katie Vincent's been out paddling and missed a medal. So she'll be pretty determined to get back up there and get on the podium in what is already shaping to be a very good women's C1 200 final. We've still got 2 semi-finals to go. There's your confirmation. Vincent ahead of Luzanne, and Sun from China in third position. In the B final will be Loschke, Gizella from USA, and the Mexican as well. So good to see a spread of athletes from all over the globe making it through to A or B finals. All right, the paddlers are coming together for semi-final number 2.
Yeah, we've got another stacked field here, another 9 boats fighting it out for those A final spots. In lane 1, we've got Karaki from Japan, we've got Belik from Germany in 2, Swiliskas from Poland in 3, Opaski from Hungary in 4, Boraska from Poland, was 5th in the C1 200 last week in Szeged. Jensen from Canada in 6, Lai from China in 7, Vanessa Tot from Croatia in 8, and Rohava from Czechia in 9. So all the athletes coming in to the buckets, ready to race down that 200. Times are looking at about 45 seconds based on the first semi-final. So they'll be looking to execute all they can to grab those spots in the A final. Last boat coming into the buckets now.
That is Rika Opavsky being fashionably late for the semi-final. So good race here. I'm expecting the 2 Poles, the Hungarian, and of course Sophia Jensen from Canada. But there are a few on the outside of the course who might give a bit of a surprise as well, especially closest to the camera, Denisa Rahova. Let's keep an eye on her as well. But we are underway in this second semi-final of the women's C1 200. And I think the best of the start, maybe Sophia Jensen. She got a really good start, but over there in lane 3, it is the Pole, Spurkovits, who's got out to an early lead. The second of the Poles, Boraska, is also out challenging for the lead, and having that Polish sandwich there in the middle is the Hungarian Rika Opavsky and Sophia Jensen also. So 4 athletes basically competing for 3 positions at the moment. There's going to be heartbreak here for one of them. It's the 2 Poles in front, Spurkovits and Boraska. This stage, Sophia Jensen sitting in third. Opavsky is the one who's got the work to do to catch up here. Sophia Jensen really flying home, but it is Boraska, Jensen, and pretty certain that Poland's Spurkovits got third ahead of Opavsky. But Dorota Boraska, the experienced Polish C1 paddler, getting the job done, and she will go safely through to the gold medal race, and I think would like her chances as well based off the back of that form. Exciting race there from the young Canadian Sophia Jensen, who just gets better every time she gets out there on the water and fighting home to grab second. Pretty certain that the second of the Poles, Spurkovits, grabbed third.
Really great example for Sophia Jensen there to show how talent and champions breed more success behind them. So having Katie Vincent there from Canada clearly has inspired these young Canadian athletes to go and push the limit. So really fantastic to see her developing. But exciting race there. The field was closely packed for all of those spots. I think it's going to be tight for the B final spots as well. Just wait for confirmation. And then coming up, we've got the third semi-final. So we'll just wait for confirmation of those results. And it was indeed Boraska from Poland in 1, Jensen from Canada in 2, Spekovic from Poland in 3. 0.7 of a second between those 3 athletes. Final B, Rohova, Opavsky and Lai go into final B.
Yeah, Denisa Rahova, she sort of caught us snapping a little bit, where I did see her jump out of the start in lane 9, but she snuck home to finish in 4th position. So a good finish for her. That'll be good form to take into that B final.
Yeah, and here is the final semi-final for the women's C1 200. We've got another full final here. We've got Sabota from Japan, Dorange from France, Kedavaskili from Georgia, Takas from Hungary, Fedorev from Ukraine, Dubois from Cuba, who was the Paris bronze medalist and also currently world champion. Lamarad from Cuba, so it's going to be a race between the Cubans in 6 and 7. And then we've got Fitzhenry from Great Britain in lane 8 and Gonzalez from Mexico in 9. So it'll be interesting, this one, Ross. We've got lots of athletes to look out for. I would imagine the race between the 2 Cubans in 6 and 7 will be really exciting, something to prove to each other. But probably keep your eyes on lane 6, but never discount the Hungarians or the Ukrainians in this race. And they're off and out the buckets.
Yeah, Takas was in good form last week and has brought that form here to Szeged. Of course, we didn't see Fedorov, the Ukrainian, last week, but she's been good. Dubois, the Cuban, she is mercurial. You never know what you're going to get with Ciruelo Dubois, but it looks like we're going to get the best of her today because she's up there challenging for the lead right next to the Ukrainian Fedorov. So it's Fedorov from Ukraine in front, Dubois from Cuba possibly sitting in second, and then at the top of the screen is at Dorange from France, who's out there putting up a big show as well. But at this stage it is still the Ukrainian Irina Fedorov. She's got a slight lead over Dubois from Cuba. Top 3 will go through. So it's Ukraine 1, Cuba 2nd, and I think the race for 3rd will probably come down to Takas from Hungary snatching 3rd spot and to continue her good form from last week. But no doubt about it, she looks pretty happy with herself, and rightly so, Irina Fedorov, because she went out hard and led from the start, and look at that smile. She cannot believe how well she's paddled. And the Cuban, the mercurial Cuban, who is on her day as good as anybody in the world, she will fight for the gold medal. Yaroslavy, Ciruelo Dubois, and 3rd spot went to the Hungarian Kinso Takas in a close run race for 4th position.
Yeah, Dubois looked like she got a fantastic start using that power to accelerate the boat. Probably haven't quite seen the best of her so far this season, but I'm sure she is getting better and better with each race that she's got. Really close race for that 3rd spot, but the other athletes will find themselves in the B final. And that is the end of the C1 Women 200. We've now got some para finals, so the medals are up for grabs in the Paracanowe races.
Yeah, two Paracanowe races, the women's KL1 and the men's KL1, and I think there's going to be some pretty exciting racing in both these divisions, so keep an eye out. We'll have the fields for you very, very soon. We've also then got some more semi-finals in the men's and women's canoe and kayak, and then later on today we've got some more finals with the C1 Women's 500, the K1 Women 500, and the men's C1 and K1000 amongst the highlights for later today. So there's your confirmation from that final semi-final. Fedorov getting the win ahead of Dubois from Cuba, and the third, well, this is interesting, the second of the Cubans just got 3rd ahead of Takas. I thought to the naked eye that Takas got it, but obviously not much in it though, Emma, just 0.04 of a second. So my apologies there for, well, both for the Cuban fans who've missed out on the excitement that I probably should have generated there, and the Hungarians for getting falsely excited. My apologies there for that. Goodness me.
I saw it as you saw it, Ross, so it's lucky that there are people that have got the pictures to keep us on track. But yeah, really great to see those paddlers go through to the A final. And here come the women in the K1 final. This is a direct final. There's some big names missing. There's no Adina Muller. Jeanette Chippington isn't here. She'll hopefully, as I spoke to her last week, she said, I'll be back. So hopefully we'll see her racing later in the year. But this is a really exciting event. We've got Brianna Hennessy from Canada in 1. She came 3rd at the World Championships in 23, and she is the silver medalist in the VL2. So she paddles both boats, which not many athletes do at the minute because of the time commitment to trying to spread your training across the two. So she's an incredibly impressive athlete. Volleman from Chile in lane 2. She is the gold medalist from Paris, and she got silver at the World Championships. Monica Sien from Japan in lane 3. She won the VL1 yesterday, which was a great result for her. And she came 9th at the World Championship. Pooja Ohar from India in lane 6. She is the silver VL1 World Champion, and she came 4th yesterday. So she's obviously in good form. We've then got Marina Mahutsa, who's a celebrated medalist. She has been silver at the Tokyo Games and the Paris Games, but she was the world champion in 23, so she is always up there in the running for the medals. And finally, in lane 8, we've got Borges from Brazil, who has come across from marathon. So this is her first competition as a Paracanowe athlete on the sprint world stage. So in the buckets, really exciting to see how this one's going to go. Keep your eyes on Chile in lane 2 and Mahutsa in lane 7. And they're off, and Mahutsa's taken a very good start out in lane 7. She is just, I think, slightly in the lead of the Chilean over in lane 4. But Brianna Hennessy and Monica from Japan also chasing down for that 3rd place medal. But at the minute, it looks like Mahutsa from Ukraine is holding her lead against the Chilean over on the far side. It really is quite close at the minute. They're both up and running, and their speed is holding well in the boats. Who will find that they have the energy left at the end of the race? The Chilean looks quite strong at the minute, Ross, looking like she's going to put the pressure on Mahutsa, but she is just keeping the lead. And I think it's going to be possibly really tight at the finish line. The Ukrainian Mahutsa just coming through to take the win. Gold medal for her, silver to Chile. And she's taken another splash, which she tends to do on the finish line, with Brianna Hennessy getting the bronze.
Yeah, good race there between the Ukrainian Marina Mazula, who has been paddling now for many, many years, and I know the heartbreak she's had of missing out a couple of times now on that ultimate prize, the gold medal, especially given how consistent she normally is through the season. So she'd be very, very happy to come out here today and to get a win over the Olympic champion, Paralympic champion, Katerin Volleman, who was so exciting in Paris last year from Chile. And as you said, Emma, taking her customary dip at the end of the race. She quite often, as soon as she crosses that finish line, does get into the water. But great to see Katerin Volleman picking up where she left off from last year. And I think you're right, Brianna Hennessy from Canada jumping up there to take the bronze. Not a lot in it, but in the end, Marina Mazula from Ukraine will get the win. And Katerin Volleman, the silver. Can you just, actually, Emma, just let people watching at home know, what are the rules regarding, because we see it quite often in canoe as well, when people lunge for the finish line and they take a tumble, how much has to be across the line to actually deem that you have finished the race?
Oh, that's a good question, Ross, and one that I should definitely know the answer to.
I think as long, yes, because you probably do it sometimes.
I think as long as the nose of the boat is across the line, but I'm more than happy to check that out. But I'm pretty sure it's the nose of the boat. But we see that a lot with Volleman. I'm not sure why she does it, but she does tend to go for a swim on the finish line. But really pleased for the Ukrainian Mazula, because she's such a lovely athlete. Always happy to have a chat, always happy, and has a smile on her face. I'm absolutely delighted to see her get a gold in this first World Cup for Paracanoe's first hit out.
All right, so now we have the start list for the second of our gold medal races, and this is the men's KL1 200. In lane 1 we have Takagi from Japan, lane 2 Suba from Hungary. Benjamin Sainsbury in lane, there he is. He didn't race yesterday, so he's out here today though, racing. In lane 4 we'll have Yash Kumar from India. Lane 5 we'll have the Hungarian Peter Kiss. There he is, Peter Kiss, such a formidable record Lane 6, Adrian Castano from Spain. Lane 7, the big Brazilian Luis Carlos Cardoso da Silva. And lane 8 from Kazakhstan, Maxim Bogatrev.
Yeah, and it's a great start there from the Brazilian da Silva. He is the Paris silver medalist and the Tokyo silver medalist, so I would expect him to be pushing against Peter Kiss, who is always consistently delivering. He is the Paris gold medalist and the Tokyo gold medalist, so it's going to be really close between these two athletes, I expect, for that gold medal. It looks at the minute like da Silva from Brazil has got the jump on Peter Kiss. Quite an unexpected turn of events there. He's half a boat length up on the Hungarian, but the Hungarian is battling back and edging his boat forward. Will the Brazilian have enough to keep that lead, or will it be right close down to the line? It's going to be Brazil to take the win. Peter Kiss from Hungary in second, and I think third place is going to be out on that far side, probably Robert Suber. Let's see whether he crosses the line. Yes, it is indeed Robert Suber to take the bronze medal, which is great for him. You know, he was the silver medalist in Rio, so it's fantastic to see that he is still medaling on the world stage all these years later. But da Silva from Brazil takes the gold.
Yeah, continuing a great record for the Brazilians. And don't underestimate, and Emma, you would know more than most about this, don't underestimate the impact that Paracanowe debuting in Rio in the Paralympics has had on building this sport in Brazil, because now they've got incredible depth in both the men and the women. And it just, you know, hosting an Olympics and a Paralympics, Emma, it really does bring out and excite the locals. And I think we've seen the knock-on effect now with really, really strong athletes from Brazil coming through now ever since the first competition in Rio back in 2016.
Yeah, we have, absolutely, and I think it's real credit to their staffing team and their talent ID. They've got a huge team. I think at the World Championships in Duisburg in 23, they had over 20 athletes there. So they are certainly one of the powerhouses in Paracanowe now across the globe, and I would expect them to be pushing us in Great Britain for these medals over the next few years, and certainly in LA. So they are definitely a country to keep an eye on. But 46.78 for that men's KO1 final. Da Silva gold, Kiss from Hungary silver, and Suber from Hungary bronze. So a great morning for the Hungarian men.
Indeed, and congratulations, the first gold medals of the competition sorted already, and one going to Ukraine and one going to Brazil. All right, now let's turn our attention to the men's K1 500 semi-finals, and there's some big names racing in this. Again, it's not an Olympic event, but I can tell you in these three semi-finals you're going to see some of the biggest names in our sport going at each other over the 500 meter distance, with the first three in each race to go straight through to the final. And we have in lane 1 Gunnar Eid from Norway, lane 2 Francesca Lanciotti from Italy, lane 3 Sławomir Wyczek from Poland, lane 4 Bence Nadas from Hungary, lane 5 James Munro from New Zealand, lane 6 Alex Baracki from Poland, lane 7 Timon Morev from Austria, then lane 8 Linus Bange from Germany, and down closest to the camera representing Australia, it'll be Bailey Clues. So the top 3 into final A, 4 to 6 to final B, and then there will be a final C as well. So 7 to 9 will get the chance to compete in final C, but they're all getting into line, ready to go in this first semi-final of the men's K1 500.
And just waiting for the starters' orders, all looking ready to go. And it's a great start from across the field. Always keep an eye out on that bumblebee patterned boat of Moore. He always starts quite strongly, but I would think Nadas in lane 4 is one to watch as well. But over on that far side, Eid from Norway has had a fantastic start. He's just leading across the field, but it's incredibly tight for these athletes. Obviously, they're looking to get their boats up to speed as quickly as possible, and then it's really a battle of attrition to see whether they can keep that fluid speed in that boat as they power down the course. But as it stands at the minute, it's between Norway in 1 and Hungary in 4 for the lead. But don't discount Moore from Austria over in lane 7, and next to him the German Bang also doing well. But at the minute it's definitely between those first lane and 4.
Gunnar Eid definitely, though, a 200-metre specialist, so I'm not expecting he will be there at the finish. Bence Nadas now maybe taking control from Hungary in lane 4. Timon Mora, a 1,000-metre paddler, coming through as well to challenge. Gunnar Eid still hanging on, though. Maybe he's going to prove us wrong and show he can do the 500 metres. But it's Bence Nadas from Hungary in front. In lane number 1, it is Eid from Norway. Right next to him, Lancioni from Italy. Has Gunnar Eid got any petrol left in the tank? I'm not sure. I think he's starting to hit the wall. It is Bence Nadas out in front, and probably Lancioni and Witjak. And down on this side of the course, maybe it's Baraki from Poland, who's also flying home with Timon Mora. But Bence Nadas in front, Lancioni from Italy up there, and Witjak from Poland as well. So it's going to be, I think, crossing the line. Oh, I'm going to give it to lane 2, Lancioni. I'm giving it to lane 2. The judges have given it to lane 1, but to my naked eye, I thought the Italian may have got there. Lancioni ahead of Nadas, with Witjak from Poland third, but it is very, very close. And I can tell you folks, wherever you're watching it around the world, do not rely on my tired old eyes, because I am very, very inconsistent with my calls for the finish. But I thought he might have got there, Lancioni, just on the bell to edge out Nadas and Witjak. It won't matter. Those are the 3 that will go through to the A final. Gunnar Eid went out really, really fast in lane 1, but just could not get the distance. A 200-metre specialist, struggled to over the last 150 metres or so. But a very, very good race for the top 3.
Yeah, fantastic race, and really great to see Baraki coming through at the end there to really put the pressure on that third spot. He nearly got it. He's the junior gold medalist from the World Championships in 24, so an athlete to watch for the future, and I'm sure he'll be delighted that he put the pressure on the other athletes over there on the far side. But I think you're right, Ross. I think the Italian just pipped first place, second to the Polish athlete, and then Nadas, I think, in third. But let's see what the final scores say. A great example in that race of how the energy systems compete across the different distances. So those 1,000-metre paddlers use more of the kind of aerobic energy systems, and clearly struggled slightly at the intensity that the 500-metre race requires.
Right, we might already be underway, are we, in the next semi-final, I think. So we've got Gilbertson from New Zealand, Godot from Canada, we have Schmidt from Slovenia, Rask from Denmark, Varga from Hungary, Liebschier Lutz from Germany, Miles from Great Britain, and Balaz from Slovakia, and Lusty from Great Britain. So it's a pretty big race. Watch out for Adam Varga and Tom Liebschier Lutz. They've raced against each other so many times, and it looks like at this stage it is Adam Varga out in front. Just this casual style that he has, never looks like he's really trying, and he's got a slight lead there over the rest of the field. Maybe Tom Liebschier Lutz coming through into second. On this side of the course, it's Samuel Balaz as well, who's putting in a big race. But it is at this stage, it is Adam Varga. Thorben Rask is also up there from Denmark. So it's Varga, Liebschier Lutz, Rask, and Balaz. 4 athletes here competing for the 3 spots to go into the gold medal race. Adam Varga getting the job done. Good race here between Thorben Rask and Tom Liebschier Lutz for second and third. And I think Samuel Balaz maybe just falling off the challenge a little bit as we get closer to the finish line. But look at Adam Varga, just so relaxed, such a casual style. He's getting the job done. Slows down as he crosses the line. Varga first, Rask second, and Liebschier Lutz third. They will be the 3 to go into the A final. I just, Emma, every time I see Adam Varga, I just think, how does he do that? How does he look so calm, so relaxed, but be so fast?
It's a skill, isn't it? It's a real skill to make it look that easy, because it certainly isn't easy. But a fantastic race from those 3 athletes. Quick mention to Tom Lusty from Great Britain. He had surgery on a shoulder injury in May last year, so fantastic to see him back where he belongs on the international start line. And I'm sure he'll be delighted to be representing his country again. But what a race from those men there in the K1 500-metre semi-final. Those first 3 athletes straight through to the A final and looking supremely confident. It's going to be another exciting race.
We'll wait for confirmation, but I think there's no doubt about our top three there. That is Varga, Rask, and Liebscher Lutz. And there we go. There is the confirmation. So that is the A final. Balaz slowed down a little bit towards the finish to finish fourth. Gilbertson from New Zealand. Good result for Kalani Gilbertson into the B final, as well as Ian Gordo from Canada will be in the B final. All right, the next race, semi-final number 3, we have Matsushiro from Japan in lane 1, Zhang from China in lane 2, Sloof from Czechia in lane 3, Josef Dostal from Czechia in lane 4, Volo from Italy in lane 5, Dorna from Slovakia in lane 6, Van Geel from Belgium in lane 7, Loris from Latvia in lane 8, and Lowe from Canada in lane number 9. Let's watch the big man Josef Dostal. Nicola Volo, the Italian, was very impressive yesterday, showed a real turn of speed. There's some real intriguing matchups here in this race.
And they're off and underway from the start, all of them away cleanly and looking like they have got that power going in that boat and getting that boat up to speed, as you would expect in the middle of the field. The Volo from Italy has had a fantastic start. Dostal doing his usual traditional slower start, sitting back, waiting to pounce on that finish when he feels he needs to. But Volo from Italy out in front, but also Zhang from China in lane 2, putting the pressure on from that outside lane, looking like he has really got some speed on the rest of the field and has now come through to just take the lead from Volo from Italy and Dorna from Slovakia. Don't take your eyes off this one, Ross. This is going to be super close. The athlete from Czechia in lane 3 also putting the pressure on. So this is probably 5-6 boats fighting for those top 3 places.
It is, and Zhang from China has gone out to try and get a bit of a lead here, so he's asking Josef Dostal to step up and to catch me if you can. So it's Zhang from China, I think, in lane number 2, who's out in front. Now Dostal is starting to make his move. Also, the second of the Czech, Sloof, is also making a move, and Volo is not going away from Italy. So it is Zhang out in the lead. Dostal now has moved into third and possibly up to second. Volo is falling away with his challenge, so it is Zhang, Sloof and Dostal aiming for the top 3 positions at the moment. Zhang's starting to tighten up a little bit, but I think he's going to hold on to get the win. Sloof will get second, and Josef Dostal doing what he has to do, the big man, to finish in third and to book his ticket to the gold medal race. The Olympic K1 1000 champion also looking pretty good, but that was an impressive race from Dong Zhang from China. He knew that if he wanted to finish ahead of Dostal, he would need to get out and get himself a very, very good lead, and that's what he did. Defied running down. Sloof bragging rights over his teammate Dostal, maybe. He just says, "Where'd you finish, Josef?" Josef said, "Well, actually, I finished behind you." And Radek says, "Really? I didn't notice. Thank you, that's great. Bad luck." But they're both through to the gold medal race, which should be an absolute ripper.
Absolutely, so impressive to see Dostal. He never does more than he has to. He literally just does the minimum amount to get himself through, and that is supreme confidence in his own ability to be able to execute that, and something that just blows my mind as an athlete watching. I love to see that. But what a fantastic race. And that wraps up the men's K1 500 meters semi-finals. And we are going to go on to the C2 men 500 semi-finals, where we are looking for 1 to 3 through to the A final. But there's the confirmation of that last semi-final. Zhang 1:40.04 from China, Sloof from Czechia, and Dostal from Czechia. And we're already, Ross, back to the start line. There's no rest this morning. We are back to the start line for this men's C2.
We are indeed, and again, top 3 go straight through the A final. So we have USA in lane 1, Denmark in 2, Canada in 3, Poland in 4, Hungary in 5, Ukraine in 6, France in 7, Mexico in 8, and Japan in lane number 9. 2 semi-finals, and the top 3 from each to go straight into the A final.
Just waiting in the buckets nice and calmly, which is not as easy as it looks in those C2 boats. Keep your eyes on the middle lane of Hungary. Never discount the Poles or the Ukrainians. And obviously Canada have got huge history in the canoe event. So keep your eyes on all of these boats as we're just waiting for the start.
I'm not sure what the delay is here. Maybe it's some of the boats coming up the side of the river there, which is causing some disruption, but I think we're underway now.
Yep, and they're off, and they're absolutely flying out the start, looking to try and get a bit of a jump on the people in the lanes next to them. As you can see, it's pretty even across that field. Often in these boats, it takes a while to see where the speed is going to come from, but once they're up and running, they will then be able to stretch that as they get into a rhythm of paddling with their partner. Most of the boats, you can see, have a paddler who paddles on the right and the left. Sometimes you'll get countries paddling on the same side, which requires a bit more steering. But as you can see there, out in front, that's the Hungarians in lane 5, closely followed by the Polish team, and out on lane 2, the Danish athletes. Nice to see them in the mix at the minute, but see if they will last for the whole 500 meters. So currently Adolf and Hadid from Hungary looking like they are in control of this race as they come through the 200-meter mark.
Yep, it's Hungary in the black boat, so that is Balázs Adolf and Jonathan Hajdú, two formidable C1 paddlers in their own right, and they have got command of this race. Good race for second now. It's looks like it might be the Polish crew of Kateski and Zazula who are in second, and then across closer to this side, we're looking at the French boat of Leonard and Laroche making a bit of a run for it. So the top 3 to go through, and maybe the French do hold third at the moment. A bit hard to tell from this angle, but it is Hungary in front from Poland, and maybe France sitting in third. But Hungary lead down to the finish, and they've led all the way. So Hungary first, Poland. Oh, the Ukrainians lunge, but I don't think they got there. I think France, Locke Leonard and Lucas Laroche will take third spot and go through to the final as well in a very well judged race. The Ukrainians possibly just missing out, but look at Balázs Adolf and Jonathan Hajdú. They know they've had a big race there, and they are safely through to the gold medal race, just edging out the Polish crew of Alexander Kateski and Norman Zazula, with Locke Leonard and Lucas Laroche of France at this stage holding on to grab third position.
Really exciting to see, and don't forget there's still world ranking points up for grabs for the B final, so absolutely worth Ukraine there putting the lunge in to see whether they can get that A final spot, but they look like they possibly have gone into the B final. Incredible athletic display there from all of the paddlers, but Hungary never looked in doubt as they came down that course to take the win. Really close battle for that third spot, but incredibly impressive from Hungary, and yet again the power nation of sprint canoe showing how it's done in all the different boats this morning, Paracanowe and canoe sprint.
Yeah, they're formidable whenever they get on the water. All right, now the second semi-final. There's your confirmation there. Hungary first, Poland second, France did get third, and in the B final it'll be Ukraine, Canada, Denmark and the United States also going through. All right, the next race we're underway already. We have China in lane 1, Ukraine, Canada, Germany, Italy, China, Venezuela, Japan and Angola. Watch the Italians in the middle of the field.
Yeah, they've gone out quite strongly, and it's China that are just in the lead, with Germany and Ukraine chasing down from second and third respectively. But it's very, very close at the minute. China have taken half a boat length lead as they accelerate their boat forwards, but keep your eyes across the field. This talent is spread across all the lanes, and it's going to be incredibly tight. Germany now putting the squeeze on the Chinese athletes, but Ukraine not fading at all. If anything, they are closing slightly on the Germans, and it is closing up this field. China in 1, just followed by Ukraine and Germany, looking like they are absolutely flying. And it's the Ukrainians chasing down the Germans for that second spot. China just holding the lead ever so slightly. The power bid of Germany hoping to get them across the line, and they are just edging ahead. As I mentioned, the power bid, Ross, it is coming into its own, and Germany have just about taken the lead, or are China coming back? This is neck and neck.
It really, really is. So the Chinese have been leading from the start. They've still got their nose in front. The Germans now, that is a beard. That is a beard. It's sitting in second position. A good race for third. It's very evenly matched. The Italians, a little bit surprisingly, a little bit back in this race. I would have expected them to be up there challenging. Maybe they can sneak in. No, I don't think they're going to make the final. But it is going to be China in front. Good race for second. Maybe the Ukrainians are going to get there. Yes, just ahead of the Germans. That is your top three, and the Italians have actually stopped paddling before the finish, so I don't know if there's a problem there for the Italians, who of course were medalists in Paris last year, and something's really gone wrong with them during this race. But Yu and Cheng Wei Yu, they are through as winners of that semi-final, ahead of Ukraine and Germany, who will pick up the minor placings. But a very impressive race by the Chinese. They went out hard and really blew the rest of the field apart, and everybody had to really dig deep to try and make up that ground. But yeah, pretty convincing. Sorry, my apologies. That's not the, of course, it's not the Italian crew. There's been it's not the Italian crew who won the medal last year. It's the second of the Italian crews, but still a very. Oh, you can see there. I don't know what happened there, Emma. See the Italian crew there. Look like they've lost. They missed a stroke or something, but something badly went wrong there for the Italians.
Yeah, I think it looks like they just missed a stroke and then had a huge wobble as the boat veered off to the side, so they had to correct that. I'm not even sure if they will. They didn't get disqualified, so they stayed in their lane, but came across in 8th. So quite a dramatic last 30 metres for them. I think they would have been safely in that B final had they not had that slip up there. But we're already back to the start for the next race, and we're now on the women's K2 500 metres semi-finals. So this event's been in the game since 1960, so it's a fantastic event, huge history, and we've got 1 to 3 going through to the A final. Denmark in 1, Italy in 2, Mexico in 3, Poland in 4, Hungary in 5, Mexico in 6, Great Britain, new combination of Emily Lewis and Emma Russell for this World Cup, in 7, Slovakia in 8, and Ukraine in 9.
And a pretty even start as well. Watch for the Poles and the Hungarians in the middle, and the Mexicans, who were very, very impressive in their heat. So we're underway, and in lane 5 it is indeed Hungary. That's Kiss and Lutz, who've gone out to take an early lead on either side of them. They've got Poland to the left, Mexico once again putting in an impressive race on the other side in lane number 6. So the top 3 to go through, it is Kiss and Lutz from Hungary at the moment who are in front. Challenging them, it is the Polish crew of Klat and Polaska, and then Morales and Fregosa from Mexico also up there trying to secure that spot for the gold medal race. Lutz and Kiss continue to lead from Hungary. The Poles now digging deep, getting the hometown support, trying to make up a little bit of ground on the leading boat, and Mexico just hanging on by the skin of their teeth for 3rd position in what's a pretty impressive race. The Brits coming through now, possibly to challenge for a place in the final. That would be a great result for this new crew from Team GB. I think Poland now maybe just edging in front. It's very, very close between Poland and Hungary for the number 1 position. The Mexicans try to hang on there for 3rd. I think it's Poland, though, who maybe now have their nose in front of the Hungarians. The Hungarians may be looking across now and thinking, do we really want to blow a gasket on this semi-final, or should we just bide our time and make sure we just get through to the final and then we live to fight another day? And the Mexicans are now holding on. I think they're going to be pretty secure in that 3rd spot. But a good win for the Polish crew. Hungary 2nd, and Mexico grab the 3rd.
Yeah, and fantastic finish from the British crew as well, really powering through. I think they might have just got 4th ahead of Italy, but let's wait for confirmation. But the class of Provazka and Klat showed there. They won over in Szeged last weekend, so I think they just were biding their time for the first half of the race and then came through. But fantastic start from Lutz and Kiss, just looking to put down the pressure and give Poland something to chase as they went down the course. But really exciting race, really tight between all of those first kind of 4 or 5 boats, and lovely to see that young crew of Emily Lewis and Emma Russell really delivering a run they can be proud of and fighting right until the end. So it'd be great to see them in the B final. just wait for confirmation of those final results.
Yeah, it's great to see the Mexicans again putting in a good race. They were so, their K4 combination were really, really good, missing out just on the Olympics, but they've now got themselves a pretty formidable K2 combination, so that's a couple of good races for them. It'll be interesting to see how they back up in the final. Confirmation there, Poland first, Hungary second, Mexico take the third position. So then Great Britain, Italy and Slovakia going through for the B final. All right, we are really rattling through this. Let's have a look here. Semi-final number 2, we have in lane 1, France. In lane 2, Norway. In lane 3, Poland. In lane 4, Ukraine. In lane 5, we have Argentina. In lane 6, we have Germany. In lane 7, we have Hungary. In lane 8, we've got Great Britain. And in lane 9, we've got Italy. And again, top 3 through to the A final, and 4 to 6 will go into the B final.
Really excited to see this one. We've got an incredibly young crew, the current under 23 European champions in lane 8, Zoe Clark and Christina Armstrong. They're an incredibly exciting prospect for the future. Looks like a false start, so it gives us a bit more time to talk about the crews. Obviously in lane 7, the Hungarians, Puk and Foyt, were the joint bronze medalists from Paris in that incredible race that seemed to take ages to come through for the confirmation. I can remember watching the athletes on the big screen, waiting and waiting and waiting to see whether they had clinched the bronze or got 4th place. So not sure, possibly over in lane 3, the Polish boat might have just done a bit of a jump on the rest of the field. We'll see if that's confirmed. But obviously as the buckets drop, they're going to have to go round.
I tell you, Emma, if it was lane 3, that makes me nervous, because that was the cantankerous bucket from earlier today, which delayed the start. So if bucket number 3 is playing up again, it's going to make me very, very nervous that we might have to get the 2 poles with poles out again to try and fix the bucket. That they did a very good job getting it up to speed and getting ready so we could get racing again. Look how cold these athletes look. They are. These are, by the way, these are athletes I think from Denmark, so I think they're quite familiar with cold weather, and even they look cold. I know, I think they're Germany. Are they? They're German athletes, so even they look cold, Emma. So it gives you some idea. Everyone is trying to turn their back on the breeze and to stay warm in these conditions. It's a bit of a challenge, though.
Yeah, I think you're always hopeful of when you start racing in the international season that it's going to be all sunshine and smiles. So you always feel a bit cheated when it's not. But we shall see how they get on. They look like they're doing all right, and the sun looks like it's going to come out for everyone. So that will be good. But these K2s will now be circling back around and getting back into their starting positions, and hopefully to get away cleanly. I think it is Poland that are going to be given the false starts. No official confirmation, but they're moving down into the buckets again. So it's going to be exciting. Keep your eyes, possibly, I'm going to stick my neck out, Ross, and say keep your eyes on lane 7 and lane 8. The Hungarian bronze medalists from Paris and the young guns from Great Britain, who are going to be something to watch in the future as we develop this Olympic program, and it's going to be hugely exciting. So let's see what they can do.
I suspect there's a little bit of hometown. I hope you're right, but I'm not sure that the Brits will go the pace with these athletes. I'm looking forward to being proven wrong. We are underway.
And it's a good start. We seem to not have Italy in lane 9, but it's a close start across all the field. Over in lane 2, Norway have had a bit of a flyer off the start. The Germans in 6 looking strong as well, with the Hungarians next to them just keeping in touch. And the British boat in lane 8 also up there with the rest of the leaders as they're getting their boats up and running and then settling into this efficient phase of the race where they're looking to really keep that flow, keep that rhythm, keep that boat moving without any of the pace dropping off. You don't want to fight your boat down the course. And it's Germany in the lead currently, from Hungary in second place. The Argentinians look like they are also stepping up into the lead, to first place to fight for the lead, but it is Norway over in lane 2, still looking quite impressive. The Polish boat is now moving forwards through the field too as we go through the 200-metre mark. It's going to be incredibly exciting into the finish, Ross.
It really is. There are 5 boats here. They're in line for just the 3 places that are up for grabs, and it's the Hungarians, the Germans, there's a Polish crew there, as well as the Norwegians, who have put in a very, very brave race. So at this stage, it looks like the Germans may be just in front of the Hungarians, and then across on the far side of the course, it's the Polish crew and Norway still hanging on. So 3 of these boats to go through to the final. I think it's still Germany just by half a nose in front of, maybe on the far side of the course and flying home, I think it is the Polish crew who maybe just even got there, just over the Germans, and oopsie daisy, the Hungarians have taken a splash, and I don't think they got their nose across the line. You don't see that very often in a K2, but just lunging for the line, and unfortunately they've tipped out right on the finish line. But I think maybe in lane 3, with a superior finish, I think the Poles maybe just edged out the Germans for that first placing, and the third place is very close as well between Norway. I think Argentina was up there as well, but the Hungarians, who maybe were heading for third spot, unfortunately took a spill, and it'll be interesting to see if they got anything over the finish line. I don't think they did, Emma. I think they fell out of the boat before they crossed, they even got the nose across the finish line. We'll have to look at the replay.
Yeah, I don't think I've ever seen a K2 capsize like that on the international stage. I've certainly seen it in Nottingham a number of times, but not on the world stage. So I was completely distracted by that rather than looking for who nicked the third spot. So we'll wait for confirmation. But a really good race, Ross, really even race. Impressed by all the field. Exploding out those buckets and really making it incredibly exciting across that whole 500 meters. Norway surprised me too. They really kind of came out fast and then didn't fade as I had possibly expected them to, but very controlling race from Poland. Yet the Hungarians definitely did not make that start line. So it's Poland in first, Germany in second, and I think Norway in third, and then Great Britain possibly in fourth. Which would be a fantastic result for that young crew, and just a real sign of what we're building back in the UK.
Yep, so well done Poland. Getting... no, I don't think that's right.
I don't think that's right.
All right, anyway. Unless... I mean, sometimes with the nose of the boat, it can be hard to see... but the way I saw it, I thought Poland definitely got the nose across the line first, but the judges have got all the technology and they can see better than us, but it doesn't matter. They're all through to the next round, and Norway is through to the gold medal race as well. But that is interesting. That's different to what I saw crossing the finish line. But let's go with the judges. They've got all the technology. They've got the very expensive ICF magnifying glass, which we spent a lot of money on this year. So I'm going to back them in with that one and give first spot there to the Germans, just ahead of Poland. Maybe that's something that when we get put this up online on our Planet Canoe YouTube page, people can go and have a look and judge for themselves. It was very, very close though. All right, let's look at the third semi-final now of the women's K2 500. In lane 1 we have Latvia, lane 2 the Dutch crew, lane 3 Slovakia, lane 4 Germany, lane 5 Australia, lane 6 Slovenia, lane 7 France, lane 8 Japan, and in lane at number 9 we'll have the Canadians. So very even race this. Looking forward to seeing the Dutch, who were very good individually in the K1, coming together, reuniting for the K2. So they're in lane 2, but also the Australians were very impressive, and they're going in lane 5. Of course, the Slovenians and the Germans are also pretty formidable, but it's going to be a very good race, a very even race. Just 3 of these crews to go through to the gold medal final.
Yeah, and they are in the buckets. And they're away cleanly for this women's K2 500 metres. Definitely keep your eyes on the young guns. Australia seems to be a morning for some young paddlers. They're the under 23 K2 world champions, so looking probably to go out hard, and let's see whether they can hold it off against these more experienced senior paddlers. But we've got Australia currently in the lead in lane 5, closely chased down by a number of boats. There's at least 5 boats chasing them down for those second and third spots, but it's Australia in the lead, looking very fluid as they stretch their strokes out and try and keep that running speed in the boat. Australia in first, with France second, Slovakia in third, and the Netherlands chasing them down. Also Slovenia looking like they are also chasing them down at the start, but it's Australia still holding the lead as they come through the 200-metre mark. They're building their lead, in fact, Ross, with Australia in the lead, France in second, and over on the far side we've got the Netherlands and Slovakia chasing them down.
Yeah, Australia have built out, they've really put a flyer at the start and set down a challenge for the rest of the field. A very impressive start from Kaylee Harlan and Natalia Drobot. They've got a convincing lead. France is sitting second. The Dutch may be coming through now. That's them on screen. Also, the Germans and Slovakia. So it's a very even race for second and third. But look at the Australians. They are really in control of this race, and they've shown that they can push this through to the 500-metre mark. They're coming down now to cross for first. I think it's going to be, is it the Dutch who are going to get up for second? I think so. Good race for them. And across here, and closest to the screen, I think it is the French who took third position. But what a race there. A very impressive race for these 2 young Australian girls. Kaylee Harlan and Natalia Drobot flew out of the starting blocks and had a convincing lead. By the 200-metre mark, they were more than a boat length in front. Good even race there from the Dutch combination. Excited to see them doing well again, just timing their race nicely and coming through to take second position. And I think the French, who paddled a very even race, maybe held on to take the third. So good result for Manon Hostens and Vanina Poletti for France. But we'll wait for official confirmation, but no doubt about our winner, Emma Wiggs. It is the Australians who were a long way in front very early on and finished a long way in front.
Yeah, super exciting for the Australians. They've got obviously a new performance director, Brendan Purcell, working with them over there, and they've obviously got all eyes on Brisbane 32 with LA 28 a target as well. So it'll be exciting to see where these young athletes can go. I think it was the French that just got the third spot. We'll obviously wait for official confirmation, but I think it was the French that got the third spot for the A final, and there it is confirmed. So Australia, Netherlands and France A final, Germany, Slovakia and Japan through to the B final.
All right, we're already ready to go for the first semi-final of the men's K2 500. We have Japan, Poland, Australia, France, Ukraine, the United States, Slovakia and Slovenia. 3 semi-finals, top 3 to go straight through to the A final, and we're underway.
And it's brilliant to see. I wonder whether the Australian boys in lane 4 will be inspired by the girls just coming down and winning their semi-final just before them. That's Tom Green and Pierre van der Westhuizen, obviously the younger brother of Jean, who won bronze with Tom Green in Paris. So it's really exciting to see them out there. France have gone out absolutely like a rocket, chased down by the Australians in lane 4 and the home nation Poland in 3, looking like they are setting themselves up for a fight all the way to the finish. So it is France currently in the lead from Australia, only just, with Poland chasing them down. The rest of the field is all closely packed, so it could be anyone. Slovenia in lane 9 looking like they are chasing probably just ahead of the rest of the pack, but at the minute Australia just got their nose in front. It's that power beard again, Ross, of Pierre van der Westhuizen leading Tom Green down that course, just edging out the French at the minute as they've come through the 200 and they're coming down to the final few 100 metres or so of this race.
It's a very intimidating beard that Pierre van der Westhuizen has at the front of that boat. Look at that, it scares a lot of people off, and at this stage it is Australia and France neck and neck. Holding on to third, it is Poland, but look at the crew from Ukraine coming through. They're going to try and challenge for that third position. It's Australia just in front of France. Now the Ukrainians are starting to come through. Can they snatch third? Australia get the win. France second, Poland third, and Ukraine just falling short. They just mistimed their run. The Ukrainians, they were certainly finishing faster than the rest of the boats, but a good race there. 2 in a row now for the Australians, and look at that win there for Pierre van der Westhausen, as Emma said, stepping into the seat vacated by his older brother and doing him proud, I'm sure, as they get that win in the first semi-final and through to the gold medal race. The French Quillincott and Francis Muguay have held on for second, and I think the Polish crew of Stepan and Korsak did manage to see off the Ukrainians, who were finishing fast, but I think just came up short in their bid to get into the gold medal race. So congratulations to Australia, France and Poland, but we'll await official confirmation.
Fantastic to see Australia nick the last 2 races in those semi-finals for the women and the men. Exciting times. Absolutely brilliant race, but I think you called it absolutely spot on, Ross. Australia, France and Poland. And we've got another K2 men's 500 semi-final coming up. I'm sure they are making their way down into the buckets as we speak, and it's going to be a really exciting one. We've got the K2 men's 4th placed European from 2024, the Czechia, Havel and Spiker in lane 5. So that will be an interesting race to watch. We've also got some more home interest for the crowd with Poland in lane 3, and they'll be coming down any minute now.
Yep, so just to race through the field for this second semi-final, in lane 1 it's Denmark, in lane 2 Italy, as we await the there we have official confirmation. Australia first, France second, Poland third, and in the B final Ukraine, Slovakia and Slovenia. So in this next semi-final we have Denmark in 1, Italy in 2, Poland in 3, Hungary in 4, Czechia in 5, Hungary in 6, Italy in 7, Denmark in 8, and Argentina down here closest to the camera in lane number 9. So keep your eye on the Czechs, and either side of them the 2 very strong Hungarian crews as well, who will be definitely out there desperate to get themselves into the gold medal race as they move into the starters' hands for this second semi-final. And another good beard there, by the way, just before I throw to you, Emma. Look at that. Very excited to see that.
It definitely is worth, despite the fact that we found out yesterday the scientific evidence is 0 for the actual power of a beard. We are still massive fans and definitely certain that they add some sort of extra speed to these boats. But the boats are in the buckets, calmly waiting for the starter to let them go down this course for the men's semi-final K2 500 metres, and they're off. And absolutely flying out the start. Look at the speed, look at the power. It's all in the shoulders and the rotation, but that's a phenomenal start down in lane 6 from the Hungarian crew. Chased down absolutely almost a line across those boats from lane 1 to lane 6. You can't put much between them, but it's the Hungarians that have taken the early lead, looking like they are wearing waterproof coats under their racing t-shirts, so they must be slightly warm, but they are stretching their lead as they come down the course, now settling in to the rest of this race, really in sync. But in lane 3, the Polish team also up there. Lane 4, the other Hungarian boat will be looking to try and test their teammates and push them all the way. And in the middle there, the Czechia boat is sandwiched between the 2 Hungarians, and they are also in the fight. Don't forget or rule out the Italians in lane 7. They're coming hard now, and it's going to be neck and neck whether the Hungarians can hold this lead.
Yep, at the moment the Czechs are part of a Hungarian sandwich, and I don't think they're enjoying it at all, but they're now starting to flex their muscles. Look at this. So the Czechs have been pulled in, sorry, the Hungarians being pulled in by the Czechs, and the Italians also flying home. So it's Czechia, it is Hungary, it is Italy, doing the best of all of them, I think. I think the Italians are going to tip them out, are they? Is Czechia in front, Italy now moving to second, Hungary slipping back to third, but the Czechs get the win. The Italians impressively snatched second, and Hungary hold on for third position, but Jakob Spicer and Daniel Havel, again, I mean, people are going to say, well, Ross, there's no science to back this up. Let me just tell you, the beard is a factor. You put a bloke with a beard at the front of your boat, and at the very least, you're going to intimidate the heck out of every other paddler. Look at the Italians. Sadly, Hirsute, not a whisker on them, and so they've fallen just short because of that. But still a very good race by the Italians to grab second, and the Hungarians, who led for most of the race, holding on for third position in a pretty impressive race there for the three boats that will progress to the final later on this weekend.
And we see there the Czechia paddlers have some sort of compression on their forearms, both of them wearing those compression elements on their forearms. We talk about marginal gains all the time. We saw Pimenta with the nose strap looking to try and get more air into his lungs. I'm wondering whether that compression on their forearms is to try and stop the lactic build-up as they're paddling down. So it'd be interesting to see whether more paddlers adopt that as the season progresses. But hugely impressive. Really interesting difference in height between the two paddlers. That can't make it necessarily that easy. But there's official confirmation. The Czechia paddlers in first place, Italy second, Hungary in third, all through to the A final, with Poland, Italy and Denmark going into the B final.
So we have one more semi-final to go in the men's K2 500, and then I think that will wrap up our coverage from this morning. So it's been a busy, fast morning because of the problems we had with the cantankerous bucket early on. Unfortunately, we've sort of had a bit of a pile on, but I hope you've enjoyed the racing. We'll be back in a couple of hours after this race for some more finals action. But before we do that, let's look at the field. Where are we? The field for the final semi-final, where we have boats from China, Argentina, Canada, New Zealand, two German boats in lanes 5 and 6, then France, Ukraine and Slovakia in lane number 9. Exciting to see the Olympic champions Jakob Schoff and Max Lemke, who will go from lane 5 in this final men's K2 500 semi-final. Not sure what the delay is. We're well behind time, so not sure why we have a delay at the moment in the start for the the third semi-final in the men's K2 500. We'll try and bring you that race as soon as we get it. It does seem we have a delay.
Interesting to see the two German boats race, Ross, in a couple of moments' time. The boat of Schropp and Lemek obviously were in the K4 that won yesterday, and then the other German boat in lane 6 next to them, Draeger and Florsted, weren't in that K4. So I wonder whether there will be a bit of an extra determination from that German crew to try and put a marker down to secure their spot in the K4. Be interesting to see, but we can see now the boats coming down to the starting area, ready for this final race of the morning. Don't forget, if you've missed any of the action, you can catch up on Planet Canoe's YouTube channel. But we've got China in lane 1, Argentina in 2, Canada in 3, New Zealand in 4, Germany in 5, the second German boat in 6, France in 7, Ukraine in 8, and Slovakia in 9.
So yes, keep an eye on lane 5. They are the Olympic champions, Schoff and Lemke. The younger German crew right next to them, out there looking to give a bit of cheek, I'm sure. The New Zealanders were very impressive in their semi-final, so what a great opportunity for them to be racing in the lane next to the Olympic champions. I mean, talk about an opportunity to learn from the very, very best. And of course, people will know Max Lemke. Probably he'll try and tell us that he's pioneered the beard for male paddlers. He's certainly had his for a long, long time. Good beard there in the second German boat as well. Fun fact for you, Emma. Once upon a time, I think it was the Russians used to have a tax on beards. If you had a beard, you had to pay extra tax. So thankfully that rule doesn't apply anymore. But
no, because there'd be some poor,
I'm sure.
Yeah, poor paddlers out there. But they're off. And they're away in this final semi-final of the men's K2 500 metres. And as expected, Germany have gone out really hard. It's the younger boat actually in lane 6, just edging out their competitors at the minute. and their teammates. But over in lane 3, Canada have had a great start as well. So it's Germany from Germany and then Canada chasing them down as they just start to kind of settle into that speed, keep that rhythm and use that fluid stroke and connection and synergy between the paddlers to try and make sure that they are adding to the boat, not fighting it down the course. And it's actually the more experienced crew of Germany in lane 5 that have just edged out into the lead, looking to put their foot down and show that they are indeed the ones to be chasing down. But the younger German crew are not letting them have it all their own way as they come through the 200 meters into the last little bit of this race. It's Germany in first position, Germany in second, and Canada currently in third.
Yeah, the Olympic champions getting the job done there out in front. Very brave race here from the Canadians. See if they can hold on to get themselves a spot in the final, which would be a great achievement for them. The second German crew also fighting really, really hard just to stay in touch with their German teammates. But our Olympic champions look pretty relaxed, don't they, as they come down towards the finish line. I think they're going to secure the win. So it'll be German 1, German 2, and I think the Canadians, congratulations to Nicholas Matveev and Vincent Jordanus, they are through to the A final as well. So a very good race there for the Canadians, but no doubt at all about our winners, Jakob Schoff. Max Lemke, a few deep, sucking it in there at the back of the boat there, but pretty happy to get a good race under their belt. Of course, they were only thrown together as a K2 in the last little bit of a lead up to the Paris Olympics, and they really did gel very quickly as a combination, and so much so that they took the gold medal in Paris. Canadians really did put everything out there. You can see they are absolutely spent after that race, but a good result for them to get into the final as well, as we await official confirmation.
Yeah, fantastic race, and just another great example of seeing the difference between paddlers that are slightly more relaxed in their style. You could see the younger boat in lane 6 there fighting their way to the finish, whereas the experienced heads in lane 5 looked like they were just cruising through to take that win. But that'll mean an exciting challenge against each other in that final later on. So fantastic to see. We'll just wait for final confirmation of who makes the A final and who makes the B final. But it's going to be an exciting afternoon, Ross, of finals ahead of us.
Yes, it is. Thank you, Emma, for once again outstanding commentary, outstanding expert analysis this morning. There is your confirmation of the A and B finalists. It's been a great... I love being in the commentary box with you, Emma. You bring so much additional knowledge to the racing. So we're looking forward to... I think you'll join us later on this afternoon for some of the Paracanowe finals, gold medal races. So looking forward to that. We'll see you then. But for now, from Poznan in Poland, from me, Ross Solly, thank you for joining us this morning. It is sausage roll and local Polish delicacy time here in Poznan. We're going to go off and gorge ourselves, and we'll be back in around just under, looking here, I think just under 2 hours from now for some C, B and A finals from this afternoon. So, but for now, from Poznan, from me, Ross Solly, thanks for your company. See you again soon.
Thanks so much.
2025. The ICF Paracanoeing Sprint World Cup Poznan 2025. The medal ceremony of KL1 Women 200 meters. Ceremonia dekoracji zwycięzców wyścigu KL1 kobiet na dystansie 200 metrów. Medale wręczać będą pan Tomasz Konieczko, prezydent ICF w towarzystwie team lidera Ukrainy. The medal will be awarded by Mr. Tomasz Konieczko, president of ICF, accompanied by team leader of Ukraine. Miejsce trzecie i brązowy medal. The third place and the bronze medal, Brianna Hennessy, Canada. Miejsce drugie i srebrny medal. Second place and the silver medal go to the Katarlyn Wollerman from Chile. Chile. Pierwsze miejsce i złoty medal otrzymuje the first place and gold medals. The winner is Maryna Maskula, Ukraina. Dziękujemy i gratulujemy. Thank you and congratulations. Szanowni Państwo, rozpoczynamy ceremonię dekoracji. Ladies and gentlemen, we will start the medal ceremony. Puchar Świata w Paracanowe Poznań 2025. The ICF Canoe Paracanoeing Sprint World Cup Poznan 2025. The medal ceremony of KL1 Men 200 meters. Ceremonia dekoracji zwycięzców wyścigu KL1 mężczyzn na dystansie 200 metrów. Medale wręczać będzie pan Ireneusz Pracharczyk, dyrektor generalny Komitetu Organizacyjnego Pucharu Świata w kajakarstwie, w towarzystwie team lidera z Brazylii. The medal will be awarded by Mr. Ireneusz Pracharczyk, General Director of Organizing Committee of World Cup, accompanied by team leader of Brazil. Miejsce trzecie i brązowy medal. Ladies and gentlemen, the third place and the bronze medal, Robert Suba, Hungary, Węgry. Miejsce drugie i srebrny medal. Second place and the silver medal. Peter Kis, Hungary, Węgry. Pierwsze miejsce i złoty medal, the first place and the gold medal, Luis Carlos Cardoso da Silva, Brazil, Brazylia. Dziękujemy i gratulujemy. Thank you and congratulations.